Cool. Hi. My name is Friederike Ernst. I'm one of the founders of Gnosis, and I will talk today about circles. Who is familiar with circles UBI? Okay, not so many people. Fantastic. You will all learn something new. This will be super nice. Okay. And obviously, because this is a privacy-centered conference, I will talk about how you can do circles in a privacy-protective manner. Okay, so let me give you a brief introduction to circles UBI. UBI is unconditional basic income, right? So basically, what circles UBI does, it gives you a blockchain-based universal basic income for anyone, really. So how does it work? It lets each and every human mint 1 circle per hour for the rest of their lives, okay? They will be very specific circles. So my circles will be Friederike circles, and your circles will be Alice and Bob and whoever circles. They will be specific to you. Right? And then what you can do, basically having these circles, they're tokens on the blockchain, but having them obviously doesn't help you. So what you actually have to do is you have to start trusting other people, and other people have to start trusting you. And what trust in this context means is you believe that the other person is a person and deserves this basic income, and that you value their circles just as highly as you value your own circles. Right? So you consent to holding their circles instead of your own circles as well. Trust doesn't have to be mutual. So you can trust me without me trusting you. That means you consent to holding my circles, but I don't do the converse. And you can revoke your trust at any time, which means you will no longer accept this person's circles. Just to kind of complete the rule set here, there's a 7% demurrage fee for the circle. So basically, the entire circle's balances will decline 7% a year. This is so as to not punish people who are late to the game, right? So you want something that works for everyone and not just, the very early adopters, kind of like we see in Bitcoin and Ethereum and so on. So with the people who were super early to the party, they're very rich now, and everyone else really has difficulty getting their foot in the door. So this also means that after a number of years, you will no longer, if you don't actually do anything to gain circles by working, for instance, you will no longer get new circles, because the circles that you get per year, namely 1 every hour, that will exactly offset the 7% burn that you will experience year on year, okay? What's super exciting about circles is that there's no central entity, right? So basically, you guys know WorldCoin? I see a couple of people nodding. The people going around with the fancy orbs that kind of scan your retina and then kind of give you a UBI based on your retina scan. But there's the company that kind of runs the database that has all the iris scans and so on. So basically, this circles design works on the basis of a decentralized web of trust. And it's self-curating, because it's in your best interest to kind of prune everyone who has registered multiple times or is committing fraud in any other way, to remove them from your network, right? So this is kind of how the circles trust graph grows. Give you an example. I'm Friederike Ernst, so this is my trust graph. You can see that I am trusted by almost everyone whom I trust. And now what happens now is that if I want to send circles to someone who doesn't trust me directly, what happens? So there's this global trust graph, and there's a pathfinder algorithm that will try to find a route from me to that person. So I put this, I use Vitalik because you all know Vitalik, and he does not trust me specifically on circles. So I checked how would I go about sending circles to Vitalik? And bear in mind that everyone will end up with circles only of the people they trust, right? So basically, a circle will jump from me to, say, Jake Brookman, okay? And then that will jump over here, and so on, and the validator person will end up with one of Jake Brookman's tokens, and so on. And this is kind of how this flux of tokens goes from me to Vitalik. Obviously, you can now calculate how many tokens you can send through the network this way. And the network, it's huge, it's really big. So it actually launched 3 years ago. And there are in excess of 120,000 on-chain circles accounts with identities. And so far, there is zero privacy. So while this is super cool, and in principle can kind of serve to empower people and kind of make transactions, make buying and selling goods and services they provide more easily, because in effect, it kind of provides lubrication for the economy, right? That's exactly what money does. And this is local money, right? So this is money that kind of everyone can create for themselves because they are part of humanity. So how do you go about introducing privacy to this? There's one intermediate step, so bear with me. It's group currencies, okay? So what is a group currency? In essence, that's just a band of people who kind of band together to combine their tokens into a single emergent token, right? So for instance, you can imagine a DAO, okay? Everyone who is a member of the DAO may put their circles into the DAO circles contract, and then pull out a DAO circle instead, right? So why would you do that? People may be less reluctant to accept the organization circles over yours because they may not know you in person, and basically with the organization that kind of backs these circles, it's likely that, by and large, the circles will be good circles, and basically you kind of hedge your risk, or you kind of diversify your risk about a larger set of people. You also enable liquidity, right? So basically, you can have your own Uniswap pool, so your Friederike token against whatever token, and that will provide liquidity. But that's a hassle, right? And also there will be limited liquidity because there will be limited amounts of your own token. So basically, it's way easier to kind of create liquidity if you kind of pool people's tokens together. Also makes the pathfinding, so hang on, let me go back. This, as you can imagine, computationally, this is hard, right? So it makes this easier on us. Oh no, I'm stuck. Please don't be stuck. I can no longer go backwards and forwards. This sucks. Sorry, I think I broke it by going backwards.
Okay, try now.
Okay. Yes, thank you. I will no longer go backwards, so this is it. Okay. And also, this will kind of reflect existing communities, right? So basically, say, in the creator economy, you're part of a DAO. The DAO creates things together. It should be able to kind of back the group currency by whatever proceeds the DAO takes in, and kind of thereby disperse this to all of its group members, right? So this can all be reflected in group currencies. So how does it work? The group currency contract represents the organization, and it's just like any other circles account. You can send circles to it, but that account kind of has the additional property that it can also mint new circles once it kind of locks up circles, right? So basically, it it gets your, say, Alice circles, and it creates DAO circles for this. This also means, in the meantime, your Alice circles kind of have to be locked up somewhere. Yeah. So what happens with the Alice circle that the DAO then holds? There's different possibilities, and this all depends on how the group currency is set up. This is totally customizable. So you can destroy the group circles, kind of make, you can destroy the individual circles backing the group currency, kind of making this very much a one-way street. You can leave the group owner or the admin of the group the right to migrate those circles, but you can also give the members of the group the right to redeem their circles if they send back the group circles. So if this no longer works for them, they can get back their own circles. Who can mint the circles? There's also different setups for this. Depends on what your group sets out to do. Either the admin only can mint it, or every member, or anyone who kind of sends a circle of a member of that DAO to the group contract. So for instance, say Alice is a member of the DAO, but I am not, but I have one of Alice's circles for whatever reason, because I trust her. I can take Alice's circle, send it to the DAO, and I will get one of those group circles back. This is totally customizable, and this is in the setup of the group currency itself. Okay, so example, humans of Gnosis. So there's this group currency called humans of Gnosis, and how do you become a member? You become a member by kind of providing liquidity against your own circles with GNO, right? So one GNO, that's roughly $100 worth of liquidity against your own circles, just to demonstrate that you're serious about this. Obviously, you can always pull out your liquidity, so it's not like you're losing that money, but this is what you need to do to become a member of the Humans of Gnosis group currency on circles. So, do you guys remember Tornado Nova? Maybe a quick show of hands? Okay, so I actually stole the slides from Tornado. Don't tell them. So what Tornado Nova actually allowed you to do is it allowed you to deposit arbitrary amounts, whereas the first version only had like discrete amounts that you could put in, so like 0.1 of an ETH, 1 ETH, 10 ETH, and so on. But Tornado Nova actually let you deposit arbitrary amounts into a shielded pool. You could do shielded transfers within the private pool, and you could also pull it out again, obviously to a different address, because otherwise it's no fun. And basically all of this worked on Gnosis chain, so even if you did it on mainnet, it would kind of send everything into the shielded pool on mainnet, on Gnosis, do the shielding there, and basically send it back from there as well. So there was two bridgings in the process. So this is what it looked like. So you would send your funds from MetaMask over the XI bridge into the Tornado pool, and you would withdraw it exactly the other way around. Okay, but remember, arbitrary amounts, right? So basically it's not in discrete amounts that you can put in. So now, something super cool. Obviously, making circles private is super hard because everyone has their own circles, right? So basically, it's no good if you can kind of send your circles into a private pool. If they are, even in the token ID, it kind of says, those are Adam's circles, right? I mean, that kind of does not lend itself to a privacy application. Once you actually start using the group currencies, this changes, right? So what this actually allows you is to deposit in a humans of Gnosis Bermuda pool. So Bermuda pool is Bermuda Bay is a new version of Tornado Nova deployed by a different team. Okay, perfect. Once on this? Okay, perfect. So I actually, this is, as you can see by these outstanding graphics, this started working like 2 days ago. So this is all brand new, but it works. I recorded it for you last night. So what it actually does, let me show you. So, okay, so you connect. Perfect. And then you sign a transaction here. Okay, this is how you create your shielded key. Okay, and now you can see I have one human of Gnosis token in that shielded pool. I can transfer it, I can withdraw it, I can send more. It works exactly like Tornado Nova did, only with humans of Gnosis tokens. So let me. You can clap, it's fine. Okay, so just to make sure that we see eye to eye here. So what you're doing here in signing this MetaMask transaction is you're actually creating a new shielded account, right? Because the shielded addresses, they're way longer than the regular addresses, right? So basically so you need to make a new shielded key pair, and this is how you make it deterministically. I think Tornado Nova was, the first time that this was used. So basically you sign a message that everyone knows, but you sign it with your own private MetaMask key, right? So this here, the message was Bermuda Bay shielded account. And the nice thing is you don't actually have to save this private key, which previously you needed to, which is just one more key you can lose, right? Because you can always replicate it with your own private key. Just by signing this message again, you will have access, you will retain access to this shielded account. Yeah, and this is obviously, this will get a proper UI and so on, but super excited about this. One last thing I want to talk about. Do I have time, like 2 more minutes? Cool, fantastic. So, the really sad thing is shielded pools don't work well together with smart contract wallets. Does anyone have any idea why that is? Yes, you.
Smart contract wallets is a wallet that you can add arbitrary codes into a contract, into an account. Like in UA, you cannot do it. And shielded pools allows you to initiate the transaction into the smart contracts, like with the kind of abstraction.
Yeah, so the reason why you can't do it directly from a smart contract wallet is because you need a private key to actually sign this, right? And smart contract wallets do not have a private key. So, how obviously being from Gnosis, this is anathema to me. So basically, this does not work with an EOA. Oh, this only works with an EOA. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. So how do you go about this? I mean, there's not really a lot you can fix on the shielded pool side. But what you can actually do is, so say you have a safe that has 3 signers. Okay, so here you have device 1, device 2, and device 3. So this is a phone, a computer, and some sort of hardware wallet credit card thing. And in principle, each of these devices can generate an almost arbitrary number of wallets, right? I mean, basically, from every seed phrase, you can derive many different public-private key pairs. So what you can actually do is you can actually derive externally owned addresses from your phone, from your computer, from your third device, and you can actually make a whole sequence of them, right? So you can make 100, whatever, and some of them can be your public safes, right? So, but I mean, what's important to note is from the outside, you can't tell that these are related safes, right? So from the inside, you can see these are kind of sibling safes because they were kind of derived from the same seed phrases. But from the outside, you have no way of knowing this. Super cool. So what you can actually do is you can have some for like your public persona, so your identity, your spending money and whatever, so your POAP, your NFT, so everything you kind of want to display to the world. Then obviously you can have private safes where no one knows that they belong to you, but they're controlled by the same devices, right? The same seed phrases. And you can have a savings save, you can have several savings saves, you can have an alt identity that you use for trolling on, I don't know, Blue Sky, whatever, I don't care. Now the important question is, if you have money in one of those Bermuda Bay pools, how do you actually get it back, right? So basically, as long as you have your shielded key pair, that's completely fine, right? So, but it's on an EOA. So basically, it's possible you'll just lose it, right? Everyone's lost a MetaMask key before. I know I have. So what you can do is you can periodically just sign a message, not send it, kind of pulling back all the funds that you have on that EOA in the shielded pool back to one of your secret safes. So maybe one that you haven't used yet. Maybe this isn't super clear to everyone yet, but you don't even have to deploy these safes, right? Because you know where they will be deployed at. So you can actually send money there to a counterfactual safe, a safe that hasn't even been created yet, because you know that you can always create it at that address, right? So basically you can sign a message from the shielded pool that you have your money in to kind of send back all your money, to all the money that you have in there, to a secret safe that you may not even have deployed yet. And if you ever lose the private key, you can always just send that message and you're good, right? So basically, the question to us is, how do you put this into nice enough a user interface that people will actually understand and use it? And we're definitely working on it, but yeah, not quite there yet. I'm sure I'll keep you guys updated. So if you want to find out more, you can follow us on Twitter or join our Discord. We have a forum, and thank you guys for your attention.